pane mukoma vakaisa comment yavo paYouTube apa, vakati ivo ko kungoshandisa mari sevamwe chii chanyanyonetsa. Apa vaipindura mubvunzo vakanangana nevhidhiyo ratanga takanda randandaisa pachannel pangu. Vhidhiyo iri raitaura nezvemashandisirwo angangoitwa embudzi pakubhadhara school fees dzevana vechikoro. Right. So I got a question from a brother who wanted to find out why we are bothering with discussing the use of goats as currency instead of just using money. Well, if the money was there, Mkoma, then we could be using that money. But the reality of the situation in Zimbabwe is that that money is not there. Saka pane problem, pane issue yekuti apana inonzi liquidity yemari iri kushaikwa mueconomy. Okay, and the other way I could interpret your question is to say, why are we not using our own currency, not the current monies that we are using, the basket of currencies. Of course, we've got the bond note, but we still don't know how that bond note is performing. So I just want to give you a little bit of history concerning our Zimbabwe dollar. We know that it was discontinued around 2008, 2009, and that was done due to record high inflation. The money had become so useless. You could see pictures of children carrying bricks, we used to call them, bricks, and in big plastic bags they were carrying these useless Zimbabwe dollars, which could hardly buy anything. So inflation had taken its toll, and the money had become very, very, very useless, okay, to the common person. So the demand for that money was dwindling. You could pick up $1 billion note on the floor. Okay, we had $1 trillion notes. I think we even had 100 trillion or something like that. Okay, so we had quadrillions and quadrillions of cash in our pockets, but they could hardly buy a loaf of bread. Right, so there was the problem, hyperinflation, record high inflation. And then we started using the basket of currencies, including the United States dollar, the South African rand, and the pound sterling, among others. There was also, I think you could import or import using the yuan, renminbi of China. You could use the Japanese yen, and I think there were other currencies as well. So the reason we're able to use those currencies is because there is a demand for those currencies. So money or currencies are also subject to supply and demand, just like any products and services. So a product which is scarce will gain in value. So scarcity is also a principle which is used in terms of money. Now, if there is so much of the money around, then its value diminishes because there's just too much of it. That's why banks are very, very careful not to print too much money. They call it too much money chasing a few goods is a cause of inflation. Okay? So there was no longer a demand for the United States, for the Zimbabwe dollar, because after the 2008 experience, not many people are keen to see the Zimbabwe dollar back. And the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has continuously denied any plans to bring it back anytime soon. Okay, saka kuti tishandise mari yedu it's difficult, and mari yacho isiri yedu haisi kubatika muZimbabwe. So the US dollar is not easy to get in Zimbabwe. And the bond note, we don't know, but apparently there are bank queues once again, which means it's also difficult to get the bond note itself. Okay, so the question that we should be debating is, how do you create money? How do you create a currency? And I'll just give an example of the United States of America with the United States dollar. Okay, at one point the United States dollar was backed by gold. Okay, then after some time after Second World War II, they stopped using gold as it was no longer backed by gold, and it had become a fiat currency. Okay, and the reason it had become a fiat currency is the following. Okay, so when it was backed by gold, the problem was that America found it difficult to print as much money as they want, or to print whatever they wanted. So because of that, okay, if they had done that, it was going to cause hyperinflation, just like it was causing in Zimbabwe, right? So how do you get around that? Because the problem with backing it with gold is that there is only so much gold in the world. In fact, there is less than 3 swimming pools of solid gold in the world. Okay, Olympic-sized swimming pools. So the amount of gold is limited, which means you can only print so much. I mean, you can, let's say you've got 1,000 kilograms of gold, and each each kilogram is, say, $1,000. So that means you can only print up to $1 million, so that each dollar is backed by a certain amount of gold. Okay, so maybe by 0.1 grams of gold, right? We can do the calculations. But the point is that if you print anything more than that, then it becomes inflationary. So it's quite difficult to print as much as you want. Okay, so how is this fiat currency that they've created? So basically, fiat currency is based not only on trust but on something else. So fiat currency is just a piece of paper you trust. So on the American dollar, it's actually written in gold with trust. You trust that the piece of paper is going to be worth what it is worth today. It will be worth tomorrow. It will be worth in 10 days. It will be worth in the short term. In the short term future, it should be worth. It should be the same value. So you should be able to get bread or buy cooking oil or pay for petrol, and it should not fluctuate too much. Of course, there are fluctuations. Okay, there is inflation all the time, but it's so gradual you don't actually feel it. Okay, if you compare your life 5 years or 10 years ago, you can tell the difference. But from day to day, it's difficult to see. I've tried to avoid those abrupt changes. So now with fiat currency, okay, it means that the Americans can print as much as they want, and here is why they can do that. All they need to do is, instead of creating a scarcity directly for the dollar, okay, because when it's scarce, it's more valuable. Instead, they create a scarcity which is associated with a different product, another product. And in this case, the product was oil. That's why we talk of the petrodollar, because now we don't know how much oil there is. Okay? And the supply of oil can be controlled to create the same scarcity we're talking about with other goods. So oil producing companies, OPEC countries, they can decide how much oil to put out onto the market. Okay, if they restrict the amount of oil or they reduce the amount of oil then the prices go up. If they flood the market, then the prices go down. Okay? But America made a pact with those countries that produce fuel. And I think it was Saudi Arabia that they spoke to first of all, to the extent or to the effect that those countries can only sell their oil in US dollars. This creates a demand for the US dollar because every country on earth needs to buy fuel in US dollars. So everyone needs that US dollar. So that creates a demand for it. And if you reduce the amount of oil coming from the Middle East, then you increase the demand for that dollar. So the dollar always has this value associated with oil, okay, but which many people don't realize. So if we are going to have a currency, we've got to back it with something. Now we could back it with gold, but if you ask me where our gold is going, I have no clue. Okay, Africa is selling a lot of its gold, selling a lot of its diamonds. Okay, but we could use the gold to back our currency, but we would have to be disciplined enough to only print as much as we have gold. Now, the same countries, America, Russia, the UK, the same countries with stable economies and who don't really need to back their currencies with gold, okay, because they just create fiat currencies, they are the same countries buying the gold. Okay, they are not using it to back their currencies, but they understand the importance of gold. We don't. Okay, we are bamboozled by the notion of having lots of pieces of paper in our pockets, and those pieces of paper we call money. But here's something you may not have realized. When Americans print or overprint the US dollars, okay, they use the money to buy, say, gold from, say, Zimbabwe. Okay, they buy the gold, they keep the gold, you take the money, okay, but your money is more valuable when you buy stuff from America. Okay, so imagine that you've got $1 million, you've sold gold for $1 million, and then you go to America and you buy trucks for $1 million. Okay, so you've got the piece of paper and you've gone and bought, you've actually bought products from the same country that's bought your gold, and they probably use your gold to make electronics equipment for iPhones and other electronic gadgets. You go and buy those products, okay, but those products have something called deliberate or planned obsolescence, which means those products have a lifespan of maybe 18 months to 24 months, okay, which is why your mobile phone contract is between 12 and 24, maybe 36 months. But by 24 months, there's a new electronic gadget, there's a new iPhone, so you want to go for the new one, which is why they do that. So these products are not appreciating in value, okay, they are depreciating in value when you buy them. But your gold is not depreciating in value, okay, it's still the same gold, but it's now in American vaults, and they'll never tell you where it is. Okay, so this is the problem, that, or some of the problem, a small part. The experts are going to explain a bit more, okay, but this is just to encourage the debate. Okay, so thank you for that question, Mukoma. I hope we do understand that yes, we need our own currency so we can use it to pay for school fees. But we need to understand what money is, first of all. We need to understand what a currency is. We need to understand how it is made. We need to understand how we maintain the value of that money. Because if we just print and print and print, it goes hyperinflationary, we are creating problems in our economy. Okay, so those are the things we need to think about. We also need to understand that wars are not only physical in terms of using weapons of mass destruction, mother of all bombs, and all that. Wars are also economic. So countries are fighting economic wars. They are fighting physical wars, but at the same time they are fighting economic wars. Sometimes they are doing all forms of fighting at the same time, and they're also fighting currency wars. Okay, so there are money wars taking place, currency wars taking place. So we need to be aware of all these things if we're going to understand how to create capital and how to grow our own economies so that they serve the interests of our own countries. Thank you for that question. Questions are more important than answers. And your question is more important than everything that I've said. Okay? So thank you for asking it. It helps the brain to dig deeper. Thank you very much.